Hello, welcome to my video on JavaScript Fundamentals. Today we're going to be talking about the DOM, what it is, and why we use it. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the key functions of a DOM. So the functions of a DOM allows us to change, create, or remove any HTML elements and attributes, allow us to respond to events from the user. So for example, mouse clicking, image loading, or selecting a text field, and it makes us allows us to change the styles of CSS. So it's really powerful, and it's a good idea to kind of get a grasp of what it can do. The keywords that you kind of need to know: you need to know what a document node is, an element, an attribute, and a text node. So these are the key terms that you need to get familiar with. So the process of a DOM, when you have made code from HTML, what happens is when the browser renders that code and displays that image, it also creates a document in memory that allows the computer to put that code in a hierarchy. So what I mean by this is your code, this is what it's displayed, but it also creates a file in memory of how it's structured. So you have the document node, which is the whole thing. Then you have the element node, which is all the tags, the head, the title, the body, the h1. All of these are elements. Then you have the attribute. So this could be like if you have a link, the attribute could be the source of that link. So you could easily change that. And then you have the text. So this is what's within it here. So you can grab, because of this document, the JavaScript allows you to easily grab any element or any text or any attribute from that document to change or edit or style. So that's what it is. The common methods and properties. So if you're looking at how we can get the elements from the DOM method, we can say get element by ID. So you can get it from the ID. You can get element by tag name, and you can get element by class name. So we're going to be looking at the differences. So these are the method to get stuff from the DOM. Then once you've got the things, what can you do? So once you've got the DOM, once you've got the element from the DOM, you can use the inner HTML to add new HTML content. You can add the attribute property to create a new value in that. You can actually add a style to it. So you can add a style property. So for example, if you want to change the color, you could say style.color. If you wanted to change the font size, you could say style.font size, and then indicate what that value is. So we're going to be having a look at how we use the methods to get the values from the DOM and how we use the properties to change the values. Okay, so let's have a look. We have our HTML here. So all of this HTML will have already been created, or a DOM will already have been created. This is what will be outputted. So we're going to use what's going to be outputted and use the HTML to look at the script and fill in the missing places, the missing answers. So stop the video, have a look at the code, and see which answers go in which spaces. Okay, so hopefully you've paused the video and tried to answer the questions. Let's now go through it. So the first the first value, 1, we're trying to put this document main into this X variable. Now if we look at main here, we look up here, we can see main here. Now main is an ID, so to get that information we need the get element by ID, so that would be number 1. And what this will do is this will take this whole section and it will put this object into the X variable. So now this object, this X variable, has the whole main that we can use. Then what we're saying is, in the next one, we're saying from this the whole thing, get element by tag name. So if we look at the tag name, tag names could be like the H2, the P, or the B. This is what we mean by tag name. So if we look here, answer is not a tag name, style is not a tag name, the only tag name is B. So what this does is it's looking in the object that we got from the first piece of code, and it's saying, out of this object, out of this HTML code, I want you to get the B tag, the bold tag. So at the moment we're getting this. And then the number 3, it's saying in the document, get element by ID, and then we want to say the inner HTML. So we're saying the something is a document object model. So if we look at that, we're looking at this section now, because we know this is a section, and we're saying here equals here. So we're saying this document get element ID, we're saying we want to get the answer one to put this information into it. So the third one is answer. Here, if we look here, just to a little bit of updated information, not relevant to the question, but if you see this Y, this is matching here. And remember, Y is the object. So it could hold multiple values, this. It doesn't know. But we're saying here, we're saying, I want you to print the first value in that in that B tag. So we only have one B tag, so there's only one value, and that value is DOM. So I wanted you to print the inner HTML, the DOM, into this phrase. And so that's why it says the DOM here. So this and this is the same thing. And the last one, we need to get element by ID. We've got the main here, and we want to use color. So we want to turn all of this into a color. So then we can use style. Okay, so there they are the answers to these questions. Okay, so the next thing I think that you could do is try and do some of these challenges to really cement this idea of what the DOM is and how to use it. So we have now the HTML code, and because we've put it through our browser, it's created a DOM document. Now, what I want you to do is, for the second question here, I want you to add a ID for the second question. Then I want you to use that ID to change the HTML content here. I want you to change the inner HTML to add a second question. Then I want you to change the color of the first section red. So you could maybe use that ID again, and change the second section blue. Okay, these are the challenges. Stop the video and have a think how you would do this. If you want, you can write it down. If you don't, you can just think about how to do it. Okay, so hopefully you've stopped the video and you've attempted it. Let's look at some of the answers. What I've done here is create an ID for the second question. So in the HTML, I've just put ID equals question. Then I've used that ID to change the color. So what I've done is I use the document keyword. Then I use the method get element by ID, and I use the question. Then I use the property inner HTML, and I said, is it good? So if you see here, even though this is in the HTML, the JavaScript changes that to this question. Then what I've done is change the color of the first section. So again, I use the document keyword, get element by ID. I've selected this first. I put style and dot color. So what this does is it changes it all to red. The second one, document dot get element by second. Again, I'm pulling this information, all of it, because it contains all of it, and I'm saying change it blue. So hopefully you can start seeing how you use the DOM, the document that the HTML has produced, to grab information from that HTML and then interact with it. I mean, this is very basic, but what you can do is you can validate user information from the client side. So if a client or if the user of a website enters information, you can actually validate that information before they click the button. So you can validate that information straight away. You can create dynamic animation from it. So you can do it every time an image loads. You can change something about it and then reload that image to create animation. And you can make dynamic layouts because you can pull things out of that DOM and add things in as the user interacts with them. So there's a lot that you can do with it. So hopefully you've got now a basic understanding of what the DOM is and how it works and why it is useful. So thank you very much and goodbye.